Welcome back, brush monkeys, and it's that time of the year. It's my favorite time of the year. It's Dragon December, and this month, we are starting in on Stormwing by Reaper Miniatures, 2017 when it came out, and he is a pretty badass looking dragon. I mean, look at this guy. He's not really designated as any particular type of dragon. I just kind of had a feel that he kind of looked like a green dragon, so that's how we're going to paint him. And I think he's going to look really spiff when I get him done. I've got a really cool color scheme. I'm going to do tan in these little wing things and green over the rest of the body. Tan belly scales. Probably do a little tan on the inside of his ears there. Bone spines. He's got a lot of spines sticking out. He's got little spines all down his tail. But yeah, and then a gray rocky base, kind of not too far from how it looks now. But yeah, I think it's going to be really cool. I'm going to do a mix of green paint and green ink through the airbrush to not only give a nice thin consistency through the airbrush, but also give a nice smooth coat over it. I think it's going to look really fantastic. As usual, we're going to break this up into two parts because he's such a big boy. This first part, we're going to do the airbrushing and shade washing on him. We're going to get at least the base coats down, get all the claws painted, all the spines painted, all that kind of thing. Get his skin shade washed with green shading. Get the claws shade washed with Agrax. Get the base painted up and shade washed with Agrax. All that kind of fun stuff. Then next week we're going to highlight all the scales with the dragon scale wax. Same with the wings. Do all these little spines here. Detail them out. Do his eyes, his mouth, all that fun stuff. And just really get him looking spiffy. I think he's going to look really badass when he's done. So I'm going to pause here and go get started on that airbrush. See you soon. Bye. Alright, brush monkeys, we got the airbrushing done, and I think our guy looks really good here. Like, obviously there's some overspray, and that's going to be addressed later. After I shade wash, then I'm going to go through and dry brush some of these little spots here and there. I do kind of like the tan on the inside of the legs here, so I may leave that, but things like right up here on these scales. There's a little spot on his wing here that could probably be... The backs of the wings are going to be dry brushed pretty heavily because obviously the overspray from here got onto here. But that's okay. Some little overspray there and there. That's okay. That's to be expected when you're using an airbrush. But overall, I feel like that looks really fantastic with that green and the tan on there. I'm really happy with how the tan... dry brush the tan right in there. Really happy with how the tan worked through the airbrush and how the green worked through the airbrush. Both of these were a mix of paint and ink. And the reason I use a mix of them, for the green I used Liquitex Sap Green Permanent Acrylic Ink and Badger Minotaur Dark Green. And then for the tan parts I used FW, or De La Rowney FW where is it? Flesh Tint ink and Badger Minotaur Mummy, which is kind of a tan, grayish tan color. And the reason I use a mix of ink and paint is because while the paint is advertised as being airbrush ready right out of the bottle, and to the most part it is, but I find that mixing a similar color of ink with the paint helps it to flow a little smoother. You don't get as much spottiness, you don't get as much speckling and spattering as you do. Even when you're having problems with the airbrush, it comes out a much smoother coat of color that way. And that's kind of one of the reasons I use it. It's why I use the white ink with the Zenithal priming to smooth out that white and not get as much speckling and chalkiness on it. And I think it really works for the most part. Like I said, there's a couple of spots on here that need to be touched up with some green, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to pause here and let the airbrush paint dry on here, and then when we come back we'll touch up the greens, and then we'll see how he looks before we shade wash the whole thing. Alright, so I'll see you soon. Bye. Alright, I'm back, and I've made a lot of progress on our dragon Stormwing here. As you can see, I've got all his little spines, whatnot, down the end of his tail painted and shade washed, and I got the inside of his wings shade washed, got all his belly scales shade washed, and all that's still wet, so I'm going to let that dry. A couple little places I missed here and there. Jesus, I used a lot of wash on that. There we go. So we're going to let that dry, and then we'll come back and dry brush all the spines. Now you'll notice I've also, I don't know if you can pick it up real well on the camera here, but I also went ahead and dry brushed the scales with the Niblet green, which is a little brighter than I would have liked, but there's a reason for that. You can see it right there on the wings real well. The reason for that is, one, the shade wash, the Coelia green shade that I do over the entire dragon is going to tone that down by quite a bit. Okay. But not entirely. It's going to darken it a little bit, but it'll still be a highlight there. And the reason I want that is when I go to do the dragon scale wax, you can see on that, that's a pretty bright, vibrant green. And it's going to benefit from having that brighter highlight already on there when I go to put this stuff on. It's going to really make it pop. You can see I've also got the inside of his mouth painted. I don't have that shade wash yet. I'm going to let the Agrax dry first, and then I'll shade wash the inside of the mouth, and then I'll shade wash the green scales. I've also got white and Flash Gets Yellow out for his eyes to paint those. I've also got, notice I got pale skin and this kind of pale, it's an undead flesh color is what it is. And that's going to be for the insides of his ears. He's got these little fins here. I'm going to paint those with that, and I think that's really going to help that pop on there. I think it's going to look really good. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and let the Agrax dry, and then we'll do the scales and then the mouth and see how that looks from there. Alright, see you soon. Alright, update time. As you can see, I've got his scales shade washed, and I've got his base painted. The base is going to get a wash of Agrax Earthshade, as well, a fairly heavy wash, and then I'll dry brush it. It's based in Dawnstone. I'm going to wash it with Agrax and then dry brush it in Dawnstone. And then I'll glue some little moss and tufts and stuff here and there, just to give it some little variety from the stone that it is. I've also got the, let's see, I got the wings done. I got the inside of the mouth done as well. So with the base coats and the shade washing done, I think I'm going to go ahead and you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do the shade washing and dry brushing on the base, and do the dry brushing on the spines and wings and claws and whatnot. And then we're going to wrap this video up, and next week we'll get into painting the eyes, painting the inside of the ears, the mouth, the teeth, highlighting all these spines and claws and the base and all that kind of stuff. So, and doing the dragon scale wax and all that fun stuff. So, I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to dry brush the spines and the wings, and then shade wash and dry brush the base, and then we'll call this a day. So, I'll see you soon. Bye. Alright, we're back, and all the washes are dry, so the next step is going to be to dry brush the wings, inside the wings, the spines, and the belly scales with Tyrant Skull, which I've got right here. And then we'll dry brush the base with Dawnstone, and then I think that's going to call it a day for this video. Next week we'll finish this guy up. But for right now, I'm going to get busy on the Tyrant Skull dry brush, and then we'll come back and see how that looks, and then we'll go from there. Alright? See you soon. Alright, brush monkeys. We've done the wings. You can see that dry brushing has brought out all that nice texture from the inside of the wings, and also did the belly scales, inside of the legs. And you can see it's got that nice rough textured look to it, all along the spines as well. They kind of look so rough and scratched up. So I'm really happy with how that looks. So we've just got the base left to do, and like I said, I was going to dry brush that in Dawnstone. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll wrap up this video for this week. Next week we will get into finishing this guy up. All right, so next week is going to be, let me consult my notes here. Next week is going to be doing the eyes and the teeth, layering the claws, finishing it with the dragon scale, finishing up the basing, matte sealing it, and then showing you what the finished dragon looks like. So it's going to be a lot of detail work next week, but I think it's going to look really good. So let me go ahead and get these stones done, and then we'll come back and take a look and wrap it up. See you soon. Bye. Alright, brush monkeys, I've got his base all dry brushed. And it's looking pretty good. Pretty happy with it. Like I said, next week I'll be adding some stuff to it before I finish it up. Little tufts here and there and some flocking and that kind of thing. But for right now, I think that's a good amount of progress to be made on our dragon. So next week we'll be finishing them up with some details and some layering and all that kind of stuff, and should be good. So join me next week, and I will see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hey Brush Monkeys, Tom from Flying Monkey Studios here. If you like what you see, click like down below. If you want to be notified when new videos come out, go ahead and click subscribe. It's like over here somewhere, right there. Those will both help with my YouTube numbers and bring me that much closer to monetizing this channel and being able to do what I love to do full time. If you want to get your hands on some of the miniatures I've painted here, visit our Instagram and Tumblr pages. I post pictures of both of those on a regular basis. I post videos on TikTok on a regular basis, mostly to direct traffic here to the YouTube channel, but you know, there's some other stuff there that's kind of cool, so go check that out. And if you want to show some love for your favorite monkey based miniature painter, go check out our merch store at storefrontier.com/flyingmonkeystudios to get our t-shirts, sweatshirts, long sleeve t-shirts, can cozies, aprons, face masks. We've got all kinds of stuff there in a bunch of different colors, including tie-dye. We've got some tie-dye shirts on there if you want to check that out. So go check that out. Go check us out on our other social medias and follow us on Twitter for updates on the channel as well. And thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye.